Hi there.
Hello, everyone.
Both of us somehow got a cold during the arts and crafts fair, and it must have been the same source because,
I was wondering whether we had a group hug somewhere
yeah,
because we simultaneously lost our voices and started feeling very poorly.
yeah. This week we want to talk about something new on the agenda, saying that it's actually not new, but in terms of organizing it and um, letting it happen, it's new.
On our Restory calendar.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And that is uh, on Sunday afternoon is the first uh, wild sanctuary gathering.
Mm. Mm.
Um, and why was it so long on our wish list?
I'm not actually sure. I think when we lived at Barrowfield, it was a challenge with being on a very long dirt road.
Mm.
So it's something that we often did was to go down to the river and sit there and be quiet for a while. So it was as if we were doing it.
Mm.
Um, and when we had retreats, we would also have that. Um, so on a small scale, we did it, but we always felt that we would like to do it um, more in a sense of community,
Yes.
a larger community.
Yeah.
And now that we're living on a tar road, and we are much more easily accessible, um, and there has been interest from town, people that want to um, uh, cooperate with us in doing it. We decided to make it more formal and to have that maybe as a monthly
Yes.
get together.
Yes. The setting here at Tafelkop plays a role. Um, it's beautiful and it's pristine, with a lovely garden with big trees and quiet and safe walking trails and so on. So that plays a role. But that said, uh, it doesn't mean that you you must have such a setting to have a wild church experience.
Mm-mm. No. No, but I think also, I think for us, why it's important, before we go on to that, is that we have always felt that nature um, is an expression of God, tells us something about God, uh, the variety, the abundance, the beauty. Um,
It's interesting that the old church fathers, um, they all basically said nature was God's first scripture.
mm,
Um,
mm,
that's the way he communicated. Long before there was the written word, God communicated through nature.
mm,
And people were very in tune with nature.
mm.
And they were part of this conversation between them and God. Uh, so it came much more natural. And over time, something dwindled.
I think also it went underground a bit in terms of the whole Western concept of the intellectualization of religion,
Yes.
and then the building of all these huge cathedrals and temples and churches that people were gathering at. So I think the more civilized we became, the less we were in touch with nature.
Yeah.
Although there are spiritualities that are very much in tune, this Celtic spirituality,
Yeah.
the Franciscans, I'm sure there are many more, that really nature plays an important part. And I think for us personally, it's always been a very important part of our spirituality,
Yeah. Yeah.
of being in tune with the seasons, of eating seasonally, of protecting nature, being respectful of nature.
We haven't mentioned it in the Afrikaans recording, but it's more and more they are discovering the health benefits. They talk of forest bathing and the extreme health benefits of that, lowering stress levels. Something happens when we are immersed in nature.
And endorphins, all of those feel
Yeah.
good hormones. I know that there's also been studies of people working with their bare hands in soil and how good that is for your immunity and all of that. So we are very much nature, part of nature.
Yes, we are.
And I think what we want to do is just to, in a very simple sort of format, just to spend some structured time in nature with a community that is very much in tune with nature, that cares for nature, that's conservationists. So I'm really looking forward to having our friends here. And the format is actually very simple. It will be a short reading, a poem, a scripture, piece from a book, and then everybody will go off and sit somewhere or walk in nature and just immerse themselves, being mindful where they are. See what nature is showing you, see what nature is telling you, and then to come back, and if you would like to share something of that, then there will be time for sharing. And that's it.
Yeah. No elaborate sermons or a lot of talking, but more the experience of nature. And maybe just as a final note, where we briefly touched on it, you don't need a setting like this with a stream flowing and a mountain as a backdrop and so on. It can be done in town as well.
I think so. I think when I lived in town, I couldn't see the moon rising, and that was I felt that was a loss, because I used to be able to see that. But you can be aware of the weather and the seasons, and have a plant growing in a pot, or have birds nesting.
Have a bird feeder. It's amazing.
Oh, that's amazing. In a town garden, how many birds that actually attracts.
Yeah.
So it's not so much where you are, but that you are mindful of nature.
Yeah.
And to see what is actually contributing to your spirituality.
Yeah.
What is it telling you? What is it showing you of God, maybe?
Yeah. So we're quite excited. It's been long overdue, and actually quite quickly after we've moved to to Tafelkop that we've started with it. So
I think it's everything, it's spring, and there's this huge, huge, and I mean huge pin oak, with a sort of a built space around it where one can sit, and it just asks for something like that.
Yeah.
Really wonderful.
In the meantime, happy exploring for your own natural spaces and wild sanctuaries.
Maybe just quickly say that we also took some of our ideas from a book by Victoria Lewis called Church of the Wild, and where she tells of her journey from structured religion, church, into more of a natural experience of the divine.
And it's now a worldwide movement.
And it's a movement now, yes.
Keep well on that side. Speak again next week.
Have a nice week, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.